What's up?
Hold on.
Is Matt joining?
No,
Okay.
he didn't answer. I'm just closing a tab so my computer doesn't start like overheating.
See, I have a new computer, but also it still overheats like so quickly on Zoom.
So quick on Zoom, especially.
Yeah.
Microsoft Teams is the worst. When I'm
Really?
on Teams with my team, yeah, to mute my mic, I have to hover over it for like 3 seconds, and then it pops up because it's so slow. But it is what it is, right?
It is
Hold on,
what
let
it
me get all
is.
cozy. Let me get all cozy.
Was the last pod you did? It was in person?
We did it in person.
Was that the
I'm not
first
a
one you've
fan.
done in person?
I'm not a fan. Yeah,
You didn't like it, eh?
no, because I feel like as much as people say they're okay with like sharing more when they're in person and not over Zoom, right? Or like a call, I feel like when you see them, it's like almost like they don't want to be judged, right? Whereas like if they're behind a camera, like they can say what they want. It's like they're an internet warrior, like, right? Most of the time we do it with cameras off.
Right.
And it's just like you speak. You don't there's no facial expressions. Whereas you're in person, you can sense somebody's emotion.
Interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way. So are you gonna ever try one without camera?
Like in terms of like people
No,
doing
like
it.
this. Are you ever going to try one with Zoom, but just audio? Because what you're saying, I can see the argument that like the further you move away from like the true human to human experience, the more unfiltered maybe people will be.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, yeah, I feel like phone calls are when people are most. I don't know why, but like when I have a conversation with someone, I feel like they just talk like the most.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
why.
possible.
Like through
Yeah,
text, like they're not really. A lot of people don't want to text how they're feeling through like text, and like when you're face to face like this, I'm not going to tell you 100% how I am. Like I am, but like most people aren't.
I think you're totally right. Well, like when you look at Twitter, for instance, right? Like people are s- people are saying like mean stuff and stuff, and to your point, it's only because they don't see a human on the other end. But like you don't actually want that necessarily.
No, they're internet warriors. I love calling people internet warriors because there's a lot of people out there that even I know who will say something on the internet and then you see them in real life and they're like, "Yo, sorry about what I said." Like, it's
Yeah.
like, no,
Well,
like,
people call some of these people social justice warriors. You know
yeah,
that's right.
social justice warriors.
Yeah.
We're social justice warriors, whatever. But yeah, I don't think I already told like Matt. I said I don't think I want to do it in person
Yeah.
unless it's just us two sitting around like drinking or something.
Yeah.
Like if we're just sitting beside each other and we're just like chilling, maybe I'll record one with him, but I don't think I'd actually record one with other people.
All right.
It just becomes, I don't know. Yeah, it's
All
very,
right.
I don't know. Well, we'll move on. It's like, I'm excited for like to do this kind of stuff. So, but yeah,
Cool. All right. Let's move on to the topic of
yeah.
the day. So we chatted about it already a bit, but like yeah, when do you think when should I quit this pod? When are you
It's
gonna
like,
quit yours? I know we chatted about this a little bit on a past one.
I don't think you should ever say you're going to quit.
Okay.
The reason I'm saying that is because I just, when somebody says, it's like somebody saying bye. Like, are you saying bye because you're not going to see them again? Right? I'd rather say see you later, right? Like I'm going to see you again most likely at some point.
Right.
So when you say you're going to quit, it means like I'm done. I'm never going to go back to it, right? So I'm very against like the whole when is a good time to quit? I don't think a good time to quit is ever. Especially during something like a podcast because there's always such a change in like society and things going on and everything. Saying I'm going to take a leave of absence or I'm going to take an extended period of time to, recoup, think about what I'm going to do and kind of move on and, maybe change the direction of how I want to do this instead of like we said in the past, like instead of having questions all the time, maybe it's just a free flowing conversation. Right. But I don't think to say like, I'm going to quit my podcast is ever a good thing. And it, like I said to you just before we talked, I think you can branch this out into like every aspect of life. Like to say you're going to quit something that you just started, I wouldn't say recently, but like I say within the last 5 years, to just say I'm going to quit doing it is like, yeah.
So can I maybe take a step back and I'll say where this kind of thought came from.
Yep.
Okay, so when we chatted about this on that past episode with Josh, the question came up of like, how long do you think the podcast is going to go on for? You said you have no plans to stop. And for me, my answer was, I'm going to keep doing it as long as I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking about that. And I was like, okay, can I use that as a kind of gauge for when I should quit just based on when I'm no longer enjoying it? And my issue with that is that sometimes we make the wrong decisions. Like even if we think like we're not. So an example would be like, let's say you set a goal to start, exercising every day. Exercise is good for you, generally speaking. Um, like if you stop, if you're like having a month or a week where you're not that motivated and you stop going to the gym, like yes, you didn't want to go to the gym, but it doesn't mean it was the right thing for you. Like you probably would have been better off if you pushed through and kept that habit. So like the way I was thinking about it is like I just happened to be going through like the past few like weeks, my motivation levels are just lower towards the podcast. So I'm
Fair.
feeling I'm feeling closer to the point where I'm like maybe at some point I just lose interest. But I kind of feel like I should still maybe push through because like I'll come out like a few months later, like being happy that I pushed through.
Yeah. Well, like I just said, like for I was shocked. For everyone that doesn't like, for people that are gonna listen on mine, for people that are listening to his, I don't know if you're like consistently listening, whatever it is, but Adam has never taken a break in 2 years until
Not,
literally.
not, not, not in 2 years. It's been since like January or February that it's been every Sunday.
Okay, but even
Long
that's
time.
7 months, eight
Yeah.
months,
Yeah.
whatever it is, 8 months without a break every week, once a week.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just at the point where you need a break, right? You still obviously, and I'm gonna like be one of those like, I don't call myself like a life coach because I'm not. I'm not certified. I'm not whatever. But clearly it's on your mind, so you still want to do it. That's why we're still doing this. If you didn't, you saying like I might be at that point where I lost motivation, why are we doing this then? Right? Like subconsciously it's still there. You still enjoy doing it, even if it's once every 2 weeks instead of once every week, whatever it is, you're still like, it's like the always moving forward. Like you're always going to be progressing, doing something such as a podcast like that you enjoy, right?
Yeah.
There are obviously a couple things that are like, obviously you do want to quit. Like, if somebody's an alcoholic, you want to quit drinking, right?
Right.
If somebody's a smoker, I hate smokers. I hate them. I hate people that smoke. I always threaten to rip up their cigarettes because I want them to quit. It's something that's going to be beneficial, but that's a quitting that makes your life better, right? But to say, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I could talk about this one too. I'm like getting into it.
uh, yeah, I think to your point around taking a break, and we talked about this a little, but my concern is just it's going to snowball. Like having the habit is a good thing. I know for myself at least, and it's not just me, I don't think, but like when I think back to past habits I've tried to put in place, whether it's like learning the guitar, where I was like playing 5 minutes a day, as soon as I stopped for a couple of days to take a break, it was done. It was done.
Done. Like you were just not interested at all.
Yeah, like once you break that streak, it's like a bit of a problem for me at least. So that's
I don't
one
even
thing.
know. Like for me, I feel like we've talked about this about me as well. When I start something, it takes me a very long time to actually start it. So like I talked about doing this podcast, like, it took me a couple weeks to even just start, like record one, streaming on Twitch, whatever it is. It takes me a certain amount of time, but I feel like that's me trying to persuade myself that like, hey, you should do this because you thoroughly enjoy what you're doing and like continue it, right? Like now I've been streaming for 3 years. I don't plan on stopping. I'm already playing video games. Like why would I stop? right? Like
I think
podcasting, I love it.
I think that's a great approach. My approach has been the opposite, which I
You
don't
just
think is as
impulse.
healthy. I impulse kind of jumped right into it, be like, let's try this out. Like I have an interest in something, let's try it out, and I usually move on from it very quickly. I mean, maybe there's pros and cons to both approaches. Like you don't want to. Some people like have something they want to do, but they never get started. You know, they keep pushing it off. That's not good. But on the flip side, it's also not good to move on from things and give up super quick. Like you want to have some persistence and
Yeah.
determination, you know, like you want to be able to.
You also want to have like what you say, consistency, right? Like the habits. You want to like when I stop playing video games for a week, I feel off. Like as bad as that sounds, it's something that relaxes me. It's something I enjoy. It's or even just use baseball. Like I'm not playing baseball this year. I feel so different that I'm not playing because usually I'm playing twice, 3 times a week, right? So I'm not quitting baseball. Yeah, I took the year off, but that's also because there's a coronavirus going around. It's not like I really had an option. I kind of just said like I don't want to risk myself, like my own health. But like to the people that I don't know, I didn't even know like a lot of people that I meet like are like you, and I'm not like I don't want to throw you under the bus. They'll start something, they'll do it, and then they'll just stop. And it's like, why even start at that point then? Because clearly you were invested in it at some point or to
Well, you
some
lose
extent.
interest. You lose interest.
But the interest is still there.
Not always.
I find with everything I do, if I do anything, like I'm always interested in it.
There's never
It's
been
weird
anything that you've lost interested in that you've started. There has to be.
that I've started.
Yeah, like was there a sport that you ever played that you was there a sport that you once liked more than you do now? Like were
Not
you ever more interested in playing hockey at a time in your life than you are now? Or any
like when you, I don't
or a
know. That's
video game? Was there a video game that you were more interested in the past that you're no longer interested in as much?
Yeah, but I'm
It's
still
natural.
always interested in it. I'm still
No, but you
like,
don't play it anymore. Like there's video games that you used to play a lot that you're not as interested in anymore.
yeah,
You
a
moved on.
hundred percent. But I'm talking about like let's say Fortnite, for example. You just brought up video games. Like Fortnite had a 3 year lifespan on my life. Like every day for multiple hours, Fortnite.
Yeah.
And then Call of Duty came out, and my buddies were like, "Just play, just play, just play." I was literally like, "No, I don't want to play. I don't want to like stop playing Fortnite because I love this game so much."
Yeah, but
Right?
eventually you moved on.
I moved on, but 2 weeks ago I went back to play it because I was like, you know what? I'm curious. Like I still like this game. I still like the I don't even know what it's called, the like the fundamentals and everything inside of the game, but like I'm still gonna be interested in it because like you can't just like not like something that you've liked at a certain point, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, but you can lose. Everyone loses interest in things.
yeah, I
By the
guess I'm
way,
a
that is that a sweater or a blanket?
blanket.
Looks very comfortable.
It's from American Eagle. If you bought a pair of jeans a certain time, they gave you a free sweater, free blanket.
That sounds like a
Very cozy. Very cozy.
it's a good deal.
But I don't know. I'm like, yeah. Do you really have any questions for this one? I think this is just like a free flowing like
Yeah, it's free flowing, but
conversation.
no, the question remains like how do I know when to move on? Because I no longer think I can just trust my gut and be like, "Oh, you know, I'm no longer interested." Because I think I do want to kind of push through. Maybe if the answer remains the same. Maybe like let's say a day comes where I'm like, "Okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not interested in doing the
Maybe you should
podcast."
use like the three strike approach.
What do you mean by that?
Like this is your
Three
first
times.
strike. This is your
Yeah, yeah.
first like,
That's what I was
you know
gonna
what?
say.
I'm kind of like unmotivated. Maybe I'll take like a week break. You know, let's say in 4 or 5 weeks. Maybe I need a month off. Maybe I just like I need to clear my mind. I want to take whatever it is. And then on that third time, you give it like your last push. You try and pump them out, and if you're still not enjoying it, I still don't say you should quit, right? Because you never know. Like in the future, maybe like you get a job where you have to become a publicist, like a PR, and podcasts are huge, right? Like whatever it is, I don't know what the future holds, right?
To
But
your point, if I ever stop, you could come back. You could come back a
always,
year later,
always.
whatever. Yeah, but maybe I'll take that kind of approach where, next time I'm like, oh, maybe I should take a break. I'll put a reminder in my phone for 1 month from that day, see if I still feel the same.
Yeah.
Something like that. To like, shouldn't be like an impulse decision. Like I've spent a lot of time on it. But like we talked about, honestly, I talked about some of the concerns or some of the reasons I'm thinking about potentially moving on from the podcast at some point.
Which I think we should bring up, which
We'll
is
bring it
like,
up. We'll bring it up. But like the main one was just like um it's hard to find guests. And I feel like I'm like in some ways asking friends for a favor and they kind of feel like not that I'm gonna shame them or like make not that I'm gonna make them feel bad if they say no, but like I'm a friend asking them to come on the podcast. Like there's a little bit of like they don't want to say no necessarily, and I don't want to make them feel obligated. You know what I mean?
100%. It's to the point though, like if you ask a friend, a real friend would say yes.
Or they'll say
They'll-
they'll say no, or a real friend
Or
will
they'll be
say
like,
no if they're
listen, I
not
don't feel like
interested,
doing it. I
and
don't
I'm
want to do
fine
it.
with that. I'm honestly fine.
Right.
Like I've
But
had
don't
good
be like,
friends.
oh, like I'm busy and like be honest.
Yeah, like I've had good friends who are just like, no, I'm not interested, and
Like
that's
me,
totally
like you
fine.
asked me today and I was like, yeah, let's fucking do it.
Yeah,
Right. Like
because you're
if I couldn't do it today, I do it tomorrow or the next day, whatever it is.
yeah.
Right. Because I enjoy doing it. And I can see why people don't like doing this kind of stuff. But like I can see why that like you think it's a hassle, right? Like
Part of it is the
for something
hassle.
you for something you enjoy, you shouldn't have to be hassled.
Yeah, the
That's
ideal
like part of the
the
reason.
ideal state, the ideal is in the future, people just reach friends and whoever reach out to me, just being like, hey, I'm interested in talking about this with you. Because I have the list, right? I have the list of topics that people can go to anytime. So, for
Exactly.
any friends or anyone listening, please reach out. You're always welcome. But
100%.
yeah.
So, but I think it's when you say you want to quit, like for you, I think we should like trying to think of like a way around this.
One more thing I want to say on this around like the feeling of um wanting to reach out to friends who have been on it before, but like not wanting to make them feel obligated, right? They might have a similar feeling the other way around. Like they might be feeling like, oh, they want to come back on, but people always doubt themselves. So they might be like, oh, maybe I'm not like maybe Adam doesn't want to have me as a guest. Like maybe you know what I mean? Like they could
Yeah, I
they
didn't
could be having the
sound
same
good or
concern. Yeah. They might be like I've so many people I've had on have been like, did I sound good? Like, was that a worthwhile conversation? Like, people doubt themselves.
yeah,
So that could be a similar thing. Like, people might want to reach out to do another one, but they're concerned that I don't want to have them on.
yeah. Um, I was gonna
Sorry, you
say,
were you were gonna say around quitting.
yeah, I just want to stay on that. It's like in terms of quitting, like I said, you don't want to be hassled, right? You don't want to be like inconvenienced. You don't want to be like, right? Like a lot of people quit a sport because they have to drive too far,
Yep.
right? Or, it costs too much or, whatever it is. But there's a lot of factors that go into quitting. But I think the ultimate one is like, if you love something enough, you'll find a way to do it. Or if you
Yeah.
like even if you like something enough,
Yeah. That's why I
not
say
even
it
love
comes
it.
down to like, are you interested in it? Like, do you enjoy it? Period.
Yeah. So I could see why you get like why you're feeling like it, and I feel the same. Like doing it on mine, like having to ask the same people over and over again, right? Like, what's 45 minutes of your time? What else are you doing during Corona or quarantine that like you can't sit with me and talk to me about something that you enjoy? You know, like on mine, it's like I'm not giving you a topic; you're giving me a topic,
But it's
right?
funny. It's funny because it's the more I think about it, it's so much similar to like exercise or other things, because um, how do I say it? Like after I have a conversation with someone like you right now, like I'm gonna be like, re like reinvigorated about the podcast. Similar to like when we played tennis like a week ago afterwards, or a couple weeks ago, you were like, man, I feel so good now, like afterwards. Versus before, you're like maybe like, like I don't know if I want to play, or I don't want to know if I
Yeah,
want to do the podcast. It's very similar.
very similar. I think it just comes down to your motivation. It's like there's like certain levels of motivation, certain like yeah, it's a tough one. This is like yeah.
Yeah, like exercise. I know, for instance, with me, like on days where you're not feeling your best, like you don't want to exercise, you want to be lazy. But
But
like
you're still there. A
I
lot of
know, I
people
know
still
that
go.
for I know that like pretty much for the rest of my life, like exercise is always going to be something that is going to be good for me, and like I should always push myself to do it on days where I'm being lazy. I don't know if podcast is the same thing. Like
No, but like I said before, it's you have to find things that are going to benefit you. What is
exercise
not a
benefits you.
no, but I'm saying podcasts, there's no downside to them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think maybe it is similar. It's not the same impact as
It's not the
exercising,
same, but
but
I'm
I
saying
think
that
it is
it's like
beneficial. Yeah.
that like video games at some point are not going to be good for me, right? But I'm never going to say like I'm done playing them.
Everything, my view is everything in moderation.
Moderation, 100%.
Moderation. Video games, personally, I think it's fine if it's in moderation. I'd be concerned if someone was, like I say this to people, like if someone's reading, like something that's generally considered to be good for you, like productive, if you're reading 12 hours a day, that's concerning to me. Like everything in moderation, even good things. If you're exercising, if you're at the gym 12 hours a day, that's concerning.
Concerning.
Yeah.
Me playing video games for 8 hours a day, concerning.
Yeah.
But
So
like,
just stay in moderation and you'll be 100% fine.
yeah,
I don't know what moderation means. Like, what is the number of hours a day? That's a good question.
I think moderation. Yeah, that's a whole different thing. Like,
It's interesting though. I don't know what the answer is.
I don't think I'll ever quit anything. Like I said, but maybe if I'm forced to quit drinking, right? Like I said to you before, like I get a health
Yeah.
concern, and my doctor says, "Hey Jesse, like, how much booze do you drink, or how much alcohol do you drink?" Like, tell him, maybe once a week I'll have a few drinks. You need to stop. Like, never again. You can't do it.
Yeah.
If somebody said that to me because my health is gonna be, go downhill because of it, I'm quitting. Like, I'm
Yeah.
one of those people, I can cold cut turkey quit, right? But if somebody's like, "Oh, Jesse, you should stop using your phone. Like, you should quit using your phone, all day." Like, no. Like, no. It's not affecting my life. Like, it is, but it's not affecting my health. My health isn't. I
It could
think that's
affect
the
it could
only
affect your mental health.
my mental health. But I think I'm in a good state now that like, or even in
Yeah.
general, I'm always in a good state that like it doesn't. My mental health is pretty strong.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that like, and I think for most people, quitting, it's only for health reasons. I don't know if that makes sense towards quitting, but a
No,
lot of
but
people
like
quit things that are mental.
okay, I don't think I don't agree with you that you've never quit things in your life. Like an
But like,
example, here's an example, and this is to me it's a very healthy method of quitting. Let's say I start to play guitar for a while, and then I come across like a piano or a keyboard, and I start playing it. I'm having way more fun. So I decide instead of playing guitar, I'm going to start playing piano. So technically, I quit guitar, but I now I'm playing a different instrument that I'm enjoying more. I don't see anything unhealthy about that.
no, but like, are you still interested in the guitar?
I
At
am,
some
but
point,
not the same amount as the piano, so I don't play the guitar anymore. Like
no, but
that would
at
be an
some point,
example.
would you
Just
ever?
like a sorry,
At some point, would you ever ponder back?
maybe for nostalgia or whatever.
So I wouldn't say
Um,
you quit.
yeah, good point. Maybe it's a break.
It's a break. It's an elongated break. Like, that's why I hate the word quit.
That's a
I
good
hate it.
point.
Like,
That's a good point. Yeah.
if you have any mental like affiliation with you wanting to go back, you're not quitting.
You could even say like quitting your job, like in some sense,
But
there's a
you're gonna go
chance you could
back to
always
a
go, you could
job.
go, and you could even go back to that same place, and it's possible depending on the
Exactly.
circumstance. Yeah.
So for me, it's like I don't agree with the whole quit.
So maybe some people listening might think that's like a technicality, but I do think you're right that there is something to what you're saying. That like the term quitting usually thinks it implies like ending forever, but like nothing, you could always come back to something. So it is a good point.
Yeah, I don't like to quit. It's like when, like I said, the goodbye. If I'm ever on the phone with you, do I ever say goodbye at the end of our conversations? Never. I always say like later days, or which is from the Weekenders on Family Channel, or I say see you later. I never say goodbye because like I'm going to see you and I want to see you. Like maybe I'll say goodbye to like somebody that like I'm in
West
a
Terminal.
meeting with a customer or something, a client, right? I'll say all right, goodbye, like nice meeting you. I probably won't ever meet that person again because what I do is online.
Hey, you might
I might, but I'm taking the chance that like now
risky
you're
business.
playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I'm just messing with you.
But you know what I mean? That like yeah, I start something. When I start something, I'm doing it because like I have an interest and I think I'll always have an interest. So I think for you, I think our next steps, like how you do like those next steps, like
Yeah, like what
execution.
what should I do? What should I do about this? Um, I really don't want to take a break from the podcast. I need to figure out a plan to get people on, get back, and I need to figure out in the future if I lose motivation again, like if I'm discouraged, mainly like feeling lazy to reach out to people. I need to figure out like how do draw the line? And I think something related to the three strike rule you mentioned, or like giving it a month. Not, I wouldn't take a break for a month, but let's say I'm feeling like I want to take a break. I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna keep pushing for a month. I'm gonna keep putting out one every week, but I put something in my calendar 1 month from now, and in 1 month, if I'm still feeling the same way, then I can take a break. Pretty much, I don't want to act on an impulse.
Don't ever act on impulse. Impulse is the worst.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's not good.
I mean,
I'd
sometimes
never
it's
act
fun.
on.
Sometimes it's fun to do things impulsively.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like something like this. That's something you enjoy.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna. Do you have any questions? I'm gonna do a quick research like thing. Hold on.
What are you researching?
How long should you wait to quit something? I want to
Interesting.
see
Yeah. It might
here.
be hard to. I wonder if you're going to get an answer that is relevant to what we're talking about right now.
Here, the first one that comes up. Ask yourself these 4 questions before you quit something.
All right.
Hold on.
This will be
The
good.
first one seems pretty. This first one is a legit one. Why did I pursue this in the first place?
Okay.
So obviously, at some point, you had to persuade yourself
Yes.
why you want to begin.
Yeah.
Whether you enjoy it, whether you think it's going to help you, whether you think you're going to move forward, kind of thing. Okay. The second
Yep.
question is, why do I feel the need to quit?
Yeah.
Like I said, most
We've been
people don't
talking about that. Yeah.
quit. 3, have I ever done anything I can to make this work for me? Have I done everything I can to make this work for me? Sorry.
Okay.
So no, a lot
We've
of people
talked we've
don't.
talked about the first in relation to taking a break from this podcast. We've talked about question 1 and 2 quite a bit. We haven't talked about question 3 yet. Like wait.
And the fourth one is, what do I have to gain by quitting?
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that. But
Like I
I think
said,
I
what
know
do
what
you
the
gain?
answer is. I know what the answer is to 4. I
Me
know
too.
what I know that the answer is to 1 and 2. Number 3 is an interesting question to me. Because the answer to question 4 is like, I do feel a little bit of like it's a good thing I've set Sunday as a deadline, right? To put one out every week, but there is a little bit of a small amount of stress associated with like, making it's a to do, right? It's a task I got to do each week.
So number
Um,
3, the word that I've seen in this, like I'm just skimming it very quickly. The word that I'm seeing, like I've seen it, I think 5 times in like probably maybe 12 lines, is pivoting. So the question again was, have I done everything I can to make this work for me? No, pivot. the first line says like, if it's not working for you, pivot to do something else. Pivot to a different approach.
Yeah, I need to think about new ways to make it
To
easier to
embrace
get
it.
guests on.
To
No,
enlighten
for me
yourself.
the main challenge is getting the guests on, right? So I need to
Yeah,
find new ways to
a way
do
to
that.
bring guests on.
So I've done stuff in the past. Like, well, first of all, I just did something now for the first time, which was like I pretty much asked people on the podcast who are listening to reach out to me. So that's like one thing. And
Oh,
then
you've
other
asked like your listeners.
like I'm doing it right now.
Oh,
And I haven't done that in the past, but I'm telling listeners right now, like reach out to me. I'd
yeah.
love to have you on. So that's an example of something new I've tried. In the past, like there's a website that you should sign up for actually if you're interested. It's essentially a website where it pairs up people who are looking to come on podcasts and people who like have their own. So I've had guests on there through there, like 4 or 5, who have reached out to me. So I'm gonna see if I can like maybe improve my profile or like find other platforms like that. So
Maybe we
I'll
use a Facebook page.
yeah, I need to think about it. So
That's interesting. I've never had like a random person on. I feel like that'd be like I feel like I'd have to be super prepared.
I prepare a bit more. I definitely prepare a bit more. Um, but that's fine.
Yeah. I think also I just want to say for the listeners, I think like what we're getting at is there's always a different approach to everything in terms of the quitting. I don't want to stray away from that one.
Yeah.
But like I think that like regardless of what happens, there's always a different method. There's always different ways to look at things. There's a million reasons.
Pivoting is a good way to think about it.
Yeah, I agree. Now I want to have a random person on my podcast.
Honestly, the easiest way, sign up for the website. I'll send you the name of the website.
Okay.
Um, and I don't get that many people reaching out, but I do get some.
Okay. Well, some is more than better than none.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I'm like, I don't think I'm ever gonna quit after this. Anything again. I don't. I think I'm just gonna like anytime I have the urge to like stop doing something for a long time, like if I ever start working out again, maybe I work out once every week instead of once every day or something, you know?
Well, I think it's a small thing, but I think you kind of you 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 changed kind of my view on it. It's not to call something quitting really, but it's a lot of times it's pivoting. Like the example, like we might call it quitting a sport, but you probably quit the sport because you moved on to a different sport a lot of the times, right? So you
Yeah.
pivoted. So I mean, it is kind of like a technicality. It's just the wording, but like it's a
We
good way to
broke
think about it.
English.
Quitting sounds like a negative thing, but
It's very negative.
It's not necessarily. If you're quitting a job, it's probably because you're moving on to a new job or opportunity. You're pivoting your career, right? Like it's
Or something bad has
that's a
happened.
much more positive thing. Yeah, but most of the time, whatever. It's a if something's bad happened, it's a pivot in your I don't know in your
In your
life.
mentality, in your
Yeah,
outlook.
yeah.
I just want to try everything. I want to try doing everything.
Man, I went through one of these phases kind of once before. You can search like 100 new things to try or habits to build or whatever.
I feel like I don't like a lot of stuff. But that's why I'm very
You won't know until you
hesitant to
try.
start at the beginning,
Yeah.
right? I'm still yet to record my own Tender Dude podcast where I'm trying food. Still
Well,
yet.
my view also is like I think it's good to have focus, right? So if you started that podcast, it's another thing on your plate. Like the more you have on your plate, the more likely you are to drop one of the things. And maybe that's okay. But
But
like if
like,
the
is it
Tender Dude
benefiting me?
if you start the Tender Dude podcast and it takes off, you're probably gonna stop your current podcast. Just in, if it takes off, if it blows up, and and you like it requires
I
all your
already told
time.
Matt. I said that. I said to him, I said, if it ever blew up, if anything ever blew up, I'm still in. I'm still in. Like dude, I'm still in on it. I'm always in on it.
I might have to go soon because I think Gab just headed out and Charlie's here and he seems sad. One of sometimes I send out like a feedback form on the podcast to people, like to like the person who came on the podcast to see what they thought of it. And someone gave me feedback saying I should show Charlie more. So here's Charlie for now. Charlie's on YouTube. This is his first
Wow, Charlie is
YouTube appearance.
huge now.
He's a big boy. He's a big boy.
Guy's growing up so fast. I've seen him from his young years. But yeah, in the end, I think I don't know if you have anything else really to talk about.
No, this was it was a
I
helpful
think we
talk for me. Thank you for having this talk with me.
yeah, I think we've covered it. I think like if any of you listening like have any urge to stop doing something that's gonna help you or not even like change your life, don't stop.
Or
Right?
try pivoting at least.
Try doing it a different way. Try
Yeah.
doing something a different way. Maybe you don't like baseballs, go play hockey. At least
Yeah.
you're doing a sport, right? Like you want to stay active, work out, whatever it is. Don't just say I'm not gonna be active.
Yeah, well said.
Motivation by Jesse. Motivation Monday. Hashtag Jesse is always right. I motivate myself. Jesus. I guess it's a good thing.
This is a great thing.
But
You got to give yourself a positive pep talk sometimes.
I use sometimes last thought, sometimes in the mornings. Do you know who Bruce Buffer is?
Yeah.
So do you know what he's like famous for when like they're about to box and he
It's
goes,
time.
"It's time." Like
Yeah.
if nobody's home, sometimes I wake up and I yell, like, "It's time." Right? Like I wake myself up.
Yeah.
And it's like hilarious to me because I laugh, like it wakes me up. Like I usually go to the washroom after that, like you know what I mean?
That's funny.
And then I get back in bed and do my work.
It's time to take a nap.
Yeah. I wish I could nap when I woke up. But I almost fell. But yeah, I think I don't really have anything else to say about that.
Sounds good. Another pod in the books.
Another pod in the books. I did just have something I wanted to say, but I forgot.
That's all right.
I'm sure I'll figure it out.
Let me know.
But yeah. Anyways, it's been the pleasure.
Always.
Pleasure was mine. We will see you next. Yeah, whatever.
Is this going on yours too?
No, I don't care. But yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for being on mine. We need to make like a joint intro.
For when we put them on both.
Like you say a word, I say a word. You say a word, I say a word.
See you next Tuesday or Sunday.
Yeah, or Sunday. But yeah, anyways, it's been real.
All right. Later days.
Later days. See you later.
See ya. Bye.